Lesson 1, being a trillionaire is overrated. At the age of 18, I was a trillionaire. Trust me, it's not all it's cracked up to be. With hyperinflation in Zimbabwe, you had to pay at restaurants before you ate to avoid a mid-meal price increase. And one year, my parents literally paid for my school tuition with a gas coupon because they held their value better than our Zim dollar. Growing up in this teapot-shaped country in Southern Africa, I quickly learned the meaning of value and just how fragile any system can be. Lesson 2, the sound of a fridge turning on is a magical thing. In Zimbabwe, we frequently had power cuts, and it was only when I first lived outside the country that I became aware of the fact that anytime I heard a fridge turn on, I got a small jolt of joy, like Pavlov's drooling dog. I'd been conditioned to associate the sound of a fridge with the return of electricity and, of course, the TV. Now, I don't think I get this epic refrigerator rush anymore, but I still try to remind myself of some of the wonders around me that I take for granted, like tapped water or food on our plates that's come from distant lands grown by unseen hands. Lesson 3, don't walk into minefields. One school holiday, I found myself walking around my hometown's nature reserve, checking out the state of the electric fence that seemed to be failing to keep wild animals in. Conclusion, there was no fence. It had all been stolen, probably during a power outage. This would make the walk rather tricky as one side of the reserve bordered on a minefield from Zimbabwe's civil war of the 60s and 70s. However, I trusted the park rangers I was with, who walked along confidently, even when there was no visible fence line left to follow, until one of them stopped and said, "I think we need to go that way," pointing in the direction of Zimbabwe. We were in no man's land. I didn't make a fuss, but I followed them out, silently leaping from patch of earth to patch of earth where their feet had rested moments before. Sleepless nights later, reflecting on my dumb luck, I realized we're all just humans who make mistakes. And next time, I'd hopefully speak up before blindly following a leader. Lesson 4. 10 friends on a canoe trip might be better than 10,000 friends on Facebook. A few years ago, I went on an epic 6-day canoe trip down the Zambezi River. There were 5 canoes, each with 2 people in. We carried all our food for the journey and camped on islands to avoid being harassed by lions and hyenas. The waters around us were filled with crocodiles. We dodged elephants, and we were attacked by hippos. Yet, I was happier than I could remember being in years, and my life had been damn good up till that point. Evolution has hardwired us to support our tribe for survival, and when we don't, we feel pretty terrible. But it turns out when you're floating down a river with 9 other people, this is actually far easier to achieve than when you're desperately trying to respond to 5,000 unread emails. Lesson 5, if you can walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing. At the end of that trip, our first contact with civilization was while driving through the bush, down dirt roads, towing our canoes behind us, probably quite a sight to behold. We passed by some school kids who ran alongside us, amazed at the bizarre convoy that had appeared out of the dust. They waved and shouted, and one little guy, overcome by his pure joy at that moment, jolted to a stop and just broke into dance to let it all out. That moment made me think, heck, life is so good. What's stopping me from dancing more? So, many of you here in Boulder probably won't find yourself in these same life situations. But I urge you to give hard thought to any dreams of being a trillionaire. Remember the magical refrigerators all around you. Consider the minefields that you're walking through. Which 9 friends would you take on a canoe trip? and remember to dance. Cool.